Look at this. Look at this. See that? Grabbing, physically grabbing her, applying pressure, pushing her. Look at Brittany Griner.
Newly surfaced footage reveals exactly how Caitlin Clark, the Golden Goose, the ratings magnet, the woman who single-handedly pulled women's basketball into the mainstream, got injured. And what it shows isn't just disappointing. It's disgusting. The WNBA has a serious bullying problem. And now, its biggest star has become the latest casualty in a league that seems either unwilling or unable to protect its most valuable asset.
Finally, a player that's worth paying the money for. Caitlin Clark comes along. What do, WNBA? You beat her up. You treat her like crap. You treat her like she's dog doo-doo, dude. I never seen this in any sport, bro. Not even Jordan.
Here's the tea. The league office doesn't want you sipping. Caitlin Clark didn't just wake up with a quad strain. She didn't trip over her shoelaces or tweak something during a casual warm-up. No, this injury was the result of something much uglier. She was targeted, fouled, grabbed, shoved, and worn down by players who looked like they were auditioning for the WWE, not suiting up for a professional basketball game. And the referees? They stood there, watching it all unfold. Their job was to not see a thing.
Caitlin Clark has been moving in slow motion. As good as she's been moving in slow motion. And it is, it makes sense. It genuinely makes sense. All of this stuff. And you've got Scott Agnes, a reporter, saying that the injury has been bothering her since training camp. So she's been playing. So essentially, she was massaging the area and wearing a pad during the Iowa preseason game. They're saying lower leg injury for some reason. Minor quad strains need 2 to 4 weeks of rest, and they can nag you.
On May 26, 2025, the Indiana Fever announced that their superstar guard would be sidelined with a left quadriceps strain, out for at least 2 weeks. That's 4 games gone minimum. But let's be real, muscle injuries don't run on neat. 2-week schedules. Anyone with half a brain knows this could easily stretch to 3 weeks, a month, or longer. The best case scenario? Already shaky. The worst? A season-altering setback.
People are noting that a grade 1 quad strain is 1 to 2 weeks, a grade 2 quad strain is 3 to 6 weeks, and grade 3s would need surgery. This is not like the end of the world of injuries at all. I think what is so dark about this is that Caitlin Clark will definitely be missing a lot of basketball in a short WNBA season. Obviously, the best thing to do is to rest her so that when she does come back, she is fully healed and the injury can't get worse. Though it is hard to measure when these types of injuries are better, I will say having a quadricep injury is much better than having like a calf injury or a hamstring injury. And I have to say that I did notice in the Liberty game, Caitlin Clark's shots were all very short. So it was showing that she wasn't like getting off and she was having a difficult time making those threes, and a lot of explosiveness from those 3-point shots does come from your legs. Her shot was just so obviously off, and for it to be short, it kind of makes a little sense.
While the Fever are doing their best to brush this off as just another injury, the newly released footage tells a much darker story. The smoking gun, video from the game against the Atlanta Dream. The same game where fans were yelling, "You're in Atlanta!" Like that somehow justified turning the court into a battleground. In the footage, we see it clearly. Player after player making heavy, unnecessary contact with Caitlin Clark. Grabbing, shoving, applying pressure that had nothing to do with playing. Defense and everything to do with sending a message. This wasn't basketball. It was targeted, calculated physicality. Borderline assault, aimed squarely at the league's biggest star. And the worst part? It happened in plain sight. And nobody stopped it.
Look at this. Look at how physical they are. Now, granted, Caitlin Clark has been in the weight room this season, but I'm telling you right now, there's only so much your body can take, man. Look at how close Ryan Howard playing her. This is crazy. And this is just one video. I got another one I want to show you guys as well.
But Here's where things start to get really revealing. Multiple sources, including fans who attended games, have reported seeing Clark using heating pads on her quad during games. And not just recently. We're talking weeks, possibly all. The way back to preseason. Let that sink in. The woman who hadn't missed a single game since 2017, who racked up 185 straight appearances between Iowa and the WNBA, was out there grinding through an injury that needed heating pads just to function. And what did she get in return? Not protection, not foul calls, not even a whisper of concern from the officials. Instead, the referees let her get mauled night after night until her body finally said enough.
The commissioner's the worst commissioner in sports. She is horrible. She wants rivalries, this WWE style. Like, nobody wants to see that, Kathy. You're a horrible commissioner. You know what? Have some dignity and just resign today. You ruined this thing. You ruined a great thing. This could be the first time you don't need the NBA assistants to go in the green. But you're going to go in the red this year because you're an idiot. You're stupid, and the fans don't like this shit. We want to see quality basketball. Nobody's asking for Caitlin Clark to get a handout. We just want to see some fair refereeing, because these referees from Temu and Wayfair, they're garbage, bro. I've seen better refereeing at a Pee Wee game, bro, at AAU. They suck. And then on top of that, the players, they're just not likable, man. They're not. That's the problem with the league. They're not likable. Caitlin Clark's like.
If you're enjoying this, make sure to subscribe, because the truth isn't coming from the league office. The timing of Caitlin Clark's injury couldn't be worse for the WNBA, and frankly, they've earned every bit of the financial fallout, heading their way. Let's talk numbers, because unlike WNBA officials, numbers don't lie. In 2024, of the 24 WNBA broadcasts that pulled over 1 million viewers, 21 featured Caitlin Clark. That's 21 out of 24. Games with Clark averaged 1.19 million viewers. Without her, a dismal $394,000. That's not just a difference. That's the difference between a thriving league and a forgotten sideshow. And we're already seeing the ripple effects. Ticket prices for the hyped rematch between Clark and Angel Reese? Down 42%, plummeting from an average of $137 to just $80 after the injury announcement. That's not a discount. That's a demand collapse. And it's happening in real time. The market is screaming what the WNBA refuses to admit. Clark is the draw. Clark is the reason people care, and without her, fan interest evaporates faster than Angel Reese's playoff hopes.
Be here with you guys today. If there wasn't any worry going on in the WNBA executive offices, if there was no worry, oh, people aren't going to turn off, oh, people are still going to show up, if that was the thought that they were having up there in WNBA La La Land, well, now might be the time to hit the panic button. 48 hours after news hits that Caitlin Clark is injured and she'll be missing 2 weeks, the market has responded, and the market has told the WNBA, we don't want this. We want her, but we don't want this. What am I talking about? Indiana Fever ticket prices to games over the next 2 weeks have dropped 42% since Caitlin Clark's injury announcement, an average ticket price of $137, all the way down to $80.
Stephen A. Smith said it best. He's watching closely to see what the ratings look like without Caitlin Clark on the court. And when those numbers nosedive, because they will, it's going to lay bare a truth the WNBA has tried to downplay. This league is riding on one player. The same player it failed to protect. Smith didn't hold back. If there is a precipitous drop-off, then everybody needs to stand down and recognize the fact that the speculation, or the assertions and assumptions about her being the golden goose is validated. And the numbers back him up. The most recent Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese matchup? 2.7 million viewers. The most watched WNBA regular season game in 25 years. It even peaked at 3.1 million viewers. Super Bowl territory by WNBA standards. Numbers the league hasn't seen since its early days on NBC. And now they're about to find out exactly what happens when you sideline the only player people are actually tuning in to watch.
How big of a blow is this to the W?
We'll find out.
We don't know yet, but I'm going to be really, really interested in seeing, Molly, what kind of effect this has on the WNBA's ratings. Because if for some reason there is a precipitous drop-off, then everybody needs to stand down and recognize the fact that the speculation or the assertions and assumptions about her being the golden goose is validated.
But let's talk about the real crime here, the officiating. Fever head coach Stephanie White didn't mince words. She called it egregious and said the level of disrespect toward her team has been pretty unbelievable. She pointed to a staggering -31 free throw discrepancy over recent games. And it's not like the Fever are camping out beyond the arc. They're attacking the rim. Translation? Caitlin Clark is getting clobbered every time she drives, and the refs are just standing there, swallowing their whistles. And the final play against the New York Liberty, a perfect microcosm of the problem. Clark takes a hit going to the basket. Clear contact, no call. Game over. The message is loud and clear. The league's brightest star isn't getting superstar treatment. She's not even getting basic protection. Natasha Cloud made clear, undeniable contact with Clark on the game's final possession. Contact that would have been called a foul on any other star player in any other league. But the referees, they just stood there and watched Clark get mugged with the game on the line. Clark immediately turned to the officials, shouting in disbelief when she realized no call was coming. Even her teammates approached the refs to protest, but it was all met with deafening silence. The officials seemed to believe basketball is supposed to be a contact sport. But this isn't just bad officiating. This is selective officiating. It's a pattern, allowing Clark to get beaten up night after night while other players get the protection she's denied. And now, that pattern has led to an injury that's going to cost the league millions. Viewership, attendance, and credibility all on the line. Multiple games of footage reveal the harsh truth. Clark is being grabbed, pushed, and physically dominated in ways far beyond normal basketball contact. Players are targeting her, knowing full well the refs will look the other way. It's like the league has handed out a green light to take liberties with its biggest star, and Clark's quad strain is the inevitable and devastating result.
But if anything, this should be a lesson to the league and a lesson to the officiating, because the amount of contact that is allowed without a foul call and the amount of physicality that Caitlin Clark has to battle through being double teamed and triple teamed, and honestly, it's mostly just not being called for these fouls, needs to be assessed. Caitlin Clark is the league's star player, whether you like it or not. It shows in the bottom line. It shows in the revenue. It shows in the viewership numbers. Every which way you turn, it shows. And as the league star player, she should not be bullied around or ragdolled, just pushed around like she is. There is an undeniable disparity in the officiating. I mean, think about the Kobe whistle in the NBA. No one touched him without an issue.
Here's what makes this whole situation even more infuriating. Caitlin Clark had been playing through this injury for who knows how long. The heating pad footage proves she was battling quad issues while still suiting up and performing at an elite level. In her first 4 games of the 2025 season, Clark was averaging 19.0 points and leading the league with 9.3 assists per game, all while practically playing on one good leg. That's not just toughness. That's superhuman dedication to a league that clearly doesn't appreciate what it has. And let's be real about what Clark brings to the WNBA beyond just her basketball skills. She's created a phenomenon that transcends sports. Her preseason game against Brazil at Iowa drew 1.3 million viewers, numbers only 2 NBA games on ESPN have matched since 2010, both featuring LeBron James. A preseason game against Brazil. Those are the kind of numbers that change leagues, create new fans, and open corporate checkbooks. ESPN made the unprecedented decision to broadcast a WNBA preseason game for the first time ever, specifically because it featured Clark. And this season, 41 of the Fever's 44 regular season games are getting national TV coverage. That's not normal. That's the Caitlin Clark effect in full force. And now, for at least the next 2 weeks, possibly longer, all of that momentum is about to hit a brick wall.
There is literally footage of Caitlin Clark putting heat compression towards her leg. There is literally footage of her putting heat packs on her leg. There is new footage of her heating up her quad when she's playing. And by the way, people have been at games. I've been getting, if you look like my comment section, I don't read my comment section that much, I'm going to be honest, but some of the times where I have read my comment section, people have genuinely been like, I'm at the game, Caitlin Clark does not look right on the sideline. Caitlin Clark is coming out, she has heat compression on her quad. She was playing injured.
The economic impact of Clark's absence goes way beyond TV ratings. Visit Indy reported a 501% surge in visits to their fever-specific webpage right after Clark was drafted. Hotel bookings in Indianapolis spike directly in sync with Fever home. Games. And a $75 million practice facility is being built, all because of the buzz Clark generates. This isn't just basketball. This is an entire economic ecosystem built around one player. And now, that ecosystem is headed for a drought, one that's completely preventable. All the WNBA had to do was protect their biggest investment. All they had to do was instruct referees to call the fouls when players grabbed, pushed, and targeted their marquee star. All they had to do was treat Clark with the same respect other superstar players receive. Instead, they let her get mauled night after night until her body finally broke down. And with the upcoming schedule, this injury couldn't have come at a worse time. The Fever were set to face the Chicago Sky, the rematch everyone wanted to see, the rivalry that's been driving ratings through the roof. Instead, fans get Angel Reese trying to boost her brand against role players, while the real draw recovers from injuries that could, and should, have been prevented.
Projections, we're looking at $875 million could easily eclipse $1 billion on her economic impact. Caitlin Clark entering the league last year was responsible for 26.5% of all of their economic activity. So revenue from merchandise, which again, with the CBA as it is currently, she doesn't see a dime of any of that. TV, and then ticket sales, obviously, which again, they don't get anything from that. We know that wherever she goes, she's selling out arenas. The ticket prices skyrocket. Like even trying to get tickets to cover Hawkeye Arena when they played the Brazilian national team at her old school was just insane prices. If she's going on the road, wherever she's going, ticket sales jumped by 140%. Average is $312. Like that's crazy.
Here's the kicker. Clark's injury doesn't just shake up the WNBA, it also rocks the MVP race. Before the announcement, she was the clear betting favorite. But her odds plunged overnight, from even money to Plodu 10 at FanDuel and Woe 150 at DraftKings. This isn't just a shift in betting lines. It's the market admitting that Clark's absence seriously dents her chances at individual glory, no matter how spectacular her play had been. What makes this even more gut-wrenching is what the injury streak ends. Clark hadn't missed a single game since 2017, her sophomore year in high school. Think about that. 8 years straight, high school, college, and pros, without sitting out a single game. That's not just impressive, it's unprecedented in modern basketball. And it all came crashing down because the WNBA couldn't be bothered to protect its most valuable player. Now the league faces a critical crossroads. Will they use Clark's absence as a wake-up call to fix the officiating failures that led to this injury? Will they finally admit that allowing players to target their biggest star is bad for business? Or will they keep pretending Clark's brutal treatment is just part of the game?
I don't know. And what does that overall do to the WNBA? This is your time to shine, ladies. I mean, the ladies of the WNBA have whined and moaned that it's not about one person. Well, okay, for a couple weeks, right here in the middle of it, you get a chance to prove that it's not only about one person. I don't know that that's great for the WNBA. Maybe the WNBA gets a little lesson in the importance of Caitlin.
The irony here is almost too much to ignore. A league starving for stars, attention, and revenue allowed its biggest star to get sidelined, thanks to a toxic mix of dirty play and incompetent officiating. Now, they're about to get a first-hand look at what the WNBA looks like without Caitlin Clark. Spoiler alert, it's not going to be pretty. When Clark finally returns, and let's hope it's sooner rather than later, the league better have figured out how to actually protect her. Because if this happens again, If they keep letting their golden goose get targeted and injured, they'll learn just how fast a basketball league can fade into irrelevance once more. The footage is out there. No win. Pattern is undeniable. The consequences? Absolutely predictable. Now the question is, will the WNBA finally learn from this completely avoidable disaster? Or will they keep turning a blind eye, letting their brightest star get bullied until there's nothing left to save? One thing's for sure, the next 2 weeks are going to be a brutal reality check for a league that forgot how to protect its most precious asset.